Picture this. You're suffering through drinks, willing the seconds to tick faster, or for your date to get an emergency phone call, real or fabricated, who cares, and have to leave immediately. You've already decided that you two are not a good match, whether they're unattractive or they lied on their profile or they're a completely self-absorbed, condescending asshole who won't stop talking about why women belong in the kitchen supporting men instead of stealing their shine. You don't have the same values or life goals, and you can't stand the way he wiggles his eyebrows while he chews. You've checked out emotionally, you never checked in physically, and mentally, you're already on your couch watching Bridgerton with your cat. The feeling must be mutual, right? I mean, there's no possible way this person is having a good time. I haven't added anything to the conversation in, checks phone, 12 minutes? Surely he finds me boring, or snobby, or disinterested, any of which should be a huge turnoff. I can't sit still, I'm yawning, and I'm debating holding in this fart or just letting it rip and scaring him off for good. I'd be doing him a favor, right? Surely he'd rather be on his couch watching Succession with his dog. But no, he won't let the date end. What the fuck? Hi, I'm Kelly Shanley, and this is For Love or Peanut Butter, a true life dating podcast in which a seemingly eligible yet perpetually single woman, that's me, finally delves into the why and the how she has remained single into her mid-30s. And she changes her life forever. Were we just on the same date? When one of you enjoyed it and one of you endured it. I've been on more of these dates than I can count. And no, that's not a humble brag to say that I ran around town breaking hearts. On many of these dates, I felt like the men couldn't stand me, or found me boring, or stuck up, or got scared off by the whole stand-up comic thing. Either way, I thought we were on the same page. I had a bad time. He had a bad time. Nobody's into it. We're done here, right? Only to have him make a move at the end of the date or follow up enthusiastically the next day. What? I have been genuinely perplexed by some of the men I've gone out with. I once had a guy split the check and pay for his own drinks covertly while I went to the bathroom, then still make a move by ramming his tongue down my throat in the parking lot.
This is what online dating is like?
Another guy showed up for our date in dirty jeans and a wrinkled Beavis and Butthead t-shirt, called me a cheater when I beat him at cornhole, told me he left a 5% tip on our meal knowing I was a waitress. No, the service was not bad, and yes, I offered to split the check. And then asked me to come to his house so I could, quote, meet his lizard. Ugh. Fucking lizard, guys, am I right? And of course, there was the guy who basically molested me on our date and didn't pick up on the fact that my whole body was cringing away from him and trying to melt onto the floor.
Can't tell if you're excited or terrified.
He texted me for weeks until I blocked him. I have a sneaking suspicion I know what's going on here, or at least a theory. So this is my suggestion for the dudes out there who treat the apps like the gym, but are confused by their lack of gains.
Do you even lift?
They show up consistently, swipe for matches daily, do all the reps, show up to multiple first dates per week, and lift heavy, pick up the check, but still aren't seeing the results they want. Finding a partner. It's not just a numbers game. It's time to start reading the room. And by the room, I really mean your date.
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
It might take some practice, but I assure you it's possible to get an idea of how she's feeling on the inside based on how she's behaving on the outside. And yes, I am aware that it would be nice if women and men felt so comfortable as to speak freely and tell our dates exactly how we're feeling to our faces. Be it awesome or awful, hungry or horny, swooning or scared.
If you're cute and you're horny, then you're probably happy.
I dream of a day when we can all be so emotionally intelligent and feel safe enough to do so. But that's not the world we live in. So for now, we must resort to studying each other's sounds and signals like the wildlife experts who brought us the March of the Penguins. They do mate for life, after all. I'm talking about nonverbal communication. If we don't have the words or feel safe enough to say that we're uncomfortable or having a bad time, our body language will tell you everything you need to know. You just need to know what to look for. Here's an example from my own dating experience. I was on a first date at a wine bar with a man who talked about himself so much that I surreptitiously started timing how long I could hold my breath. I was bored and desperately wanted to go home. 63 minutes and 26 seconds in, he finally took a thoughtful pause to grasp for another extraneous detail of a story I wasn't listening to. So I jumped at my chance and excused myself to the bathroom, planning to say goodnight and leave afterwards. But when I returned, he had moved our things from the bar stools to the much more intimate couch seating and ordered me a third glass of wine, despite me telling him I was done drinking for the night because I had to drive home. He also ignored verbal cues, but that felt on purpose.
Boys will be boys, right?
I sat down on the couch reluctantly and placed my oversized purse in between us, hoping to create a barrier and preserve my personal space. I crossed my arms and legs and sunk back into the couch. I imagine I resembled a pouting teenager. And do you know what he did? He moved my purse out of the way, put it on the floor, rude, and said, "That was like a wall in between us," as he wrapped his arm around me and pulled me towards him. Great. What do you guys think? Was that the right move? Let's break down the game tape. There's a lot to review here, but let's just focus on the most glaring things. First of all, the purse, flag on the play. Major cue that he blatantly disregarded. Whether he didn't get that it was there on purpose or he didn't care, that's a problem either way. Consent starts early, not just when you're 5 drinks in, making out with a stranger in the back of an Uber. And if a grown-ass woman wants to sit close to you on a sofa, she will. Let her. Also, putting a woman's purse on the ground? Oh, buddy. The vessel she carries with her from place to place that holds her most sacred things? Just being dumped on the floor in a public place where red wine is often spilled and shoes that just walked in from Hollywood Boulevard are worn?
You wouldn't dare.
Never okay. Whether you're married or on a first date, you just don't do that. You don't mess with the purse, right? Everybody knows that. Here are some other physical cues from me that he ignored throughout the entire date. 1, me crossing my arms, indicating frustration and defensiveness. 2, my eyes wandering, signaling boredom and discomfort. 3, my whole body clenching up when he touched me, aka, get the fuck off of me. Plus many yawns, which shouldn't need explaining, but probably do for this guy. All the signs were there. He just actively chose to ignore them. I don't know how this guy makes his way through the world.
What, like it's hard?
Generally, if a woman is avoiding eye contact, leaning away from you, twitching, chewing her lip, playing with her nails or any other nervous habit, crossing her arms, slouching, slumping, yawning, watching the TV over your shoulder, or tensing up her body anytime you touch her, she's not having a good time. Silence is also a great nonverbal clue that she's wishing she was anywhere but with you.
If you can't say something nice, don't say anything.
You should probably check in with her if you're seeing any of these behaviors. Maybe give her an out. See if she wants to call it a night. She'll probably say yes. Oh, and if she resorts to such extreme measures as belching, farting, or sniffing her own armpits and exclaiming about how bad she smells,
Ooh, little ripe.
just cut her loose. She wants nothing to do with you. Now, some women are kind of twitchy naturally. Guilty. And they might come across as anxious in a bad way when it's possible they're just nervous in a good way. So if she doesn't say yes to leaving, feel free to mention that she seems a little tense and you just want to make sure she's having a good time. If she was on the fence about you then, she'll jump on over to your side after you show that you're at least attempting to tune into her feelings. I know I would have appreciated it. At the end of my date, he walked me to my car. I got in, turned it on, and started to say goodbye. He said, "I'm going to call you, Tiger. I'm definitely going to call you." Oh yeah, he nicknamed me Tiger on our date, just for the sake of giving me a nickname.
You don't know my name, do you?
I just smirked, and suddenly he remembered. "Oh wait, I don't have your number. You have mine." I pulled out of the parking spot. "You better call me, Tiger. You better." I smiled and waved as I drove off, relishing the look on his face when he realized he wouldn't be able to seduce/harass me via text and would never hear from me again.
Why the long face, Tiger?
It's like he finally saw the date from my perspective flash before his eyes. Sometimes we stay longer than we should because we're trying to be polite, or we want to give you a real chance and not rule you out for something superficial. Or we're waiting for a spark of the witty conversation we had on the app to rekindle. Sometimes we're just scared of what you'll do to us if we end it early. And unfortunately, there's really no way of knowing which one it is unless you learn how to check in with us. If you're thinking, ugh, that sounds like an awful lot of work, or I don't really care if she feels comfortable or not, then maybe you shouldn't be dating at all. Feel free to stay off the apps and on your couch, where the only nonverbal cue you need to recognize is your dog pawing the front door to be let out to take a shit. I'm Kelly Shanley, and this is For Love or Peanut Butter. For Love or Peanut Butter is created, written, and performed by me, Kelly Shanley. Produced and edited by Z. Rodriguez-Thomas for Mindjam Media. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast and leave us a glowing review. If you can't wait to hear the next one, check out the column of the same name on Medium. Link in show notes. And be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at Kelly A. Shanley. On YouTube, Facebook, and Medium, at Kelly Shanley. Thanks so much for listening, and stay crunchy out there. Or smooth.
Anyone should be able, like, these are obvious things.
Yeah.
Like, you never run the foot, you never throw deep on first down. Like, everybody knows that. Like,
Come on, man.
yeah, it's that.
How do you human? How do you even human?
Yeah.
How's this guy get around at work?